One of the most biggest requirements I will always tell any streamer to focus on as their number one requirement when it comes to streams is your audio. If somebody cannot hear you or the audio is just really bad, it makes everything else bad. Before we get on to the episode, I want to give you one little reminder, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of every single one of my episodes, I give you a little task, the task for the week. This one, this week, is important, and I want to see if you guys can do it. It's going to be a tougher one from what I've been giving you prior to this, but it's reasons why I want to give it to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you let me know. Make sure to actually sub to the YouTube channel as well if you have not subbed already, or if you're actually listening on podcast format where you guys can find us anywhere, just check out the description in the actual video or the audio show, and it'll tell you where we're listed. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Here we go with the show. In streaming, there's a lot of stuff that you can utilize on your streams to make it more appealing, whether it's from UI, whether it's from microphones, cameras, lighting effects, crazy people running around behind you, also known as children. But the one thing that I will always tell any streamer, specifically when starting out, that they need to focus on is 100% the audio. And the reason why is because the audio is what's always going to attract someone to your product. Think of it this way. Twitch in itself has a lot of individuals like to lurk. What the concept of that is have you in the background or have you somewhere where they can hear you, but at the same time they're doing their own stuff. Guess what? IRL people have IRL things to do. Whether it's work, whether it's cooking, whether it's fun times at home, or whether it's just taking a massive poop. That happens. They like to watch and listen. Now, sometimes they can't always necessarily watch, so listening is the next best thing that they can do. And because there are so many individuals out there that at the same time will do something on top of watching you, it is always important to focus on the one aspect that they do require the most, specifically from a lurker's point of view, and that is the audio. You need to be clear. You need to be crisp. There's a massive difference when you have too much reverb. There's a massive difference when they can't hear you, or bad quality, or unable to identify exactly what you're saying. So audio is always going to be the number one aspect that you want to have on your streams, specifically because it gives the option for people to watch, which helps your watch time, but at the same time, do their own things while listening to you. Audio is always going to be that winning factor of how you can actually ingest content. Similar concept to podcasts, where they're just audio format. This is why audio is such a massive requirement when you're actually doing streams. It is definitely the connecting point of lurkers and your product. So make sure to focus on it. I am a little biased. I have been utilizing Blue microphones for a very, very long time. I am actually using the Blackout Spark SL right now. It is a great piece of microphone. However, I'm going to let you know this. I was utilizing the Blue Yeti a very long time ago. It's actually one of my very first USB microphones I ever purchased, and I gotta say, I love the quality of it. This, to me, years later, is still working in perfect condition, but Blue microphones is definitely a requirement. Yes, I know I'm a part of the Blue crew. You guys can actually find the link down in the description below if you'd like to actually check it out. But audio is always going to be key, and that is something that's always going to help you not only keep audience members, but keep viewers as well. Now, please make note, having hardware is fantastic. Having the good necessary hardware to be able to hear yourself is great, but in the long run, it is also on you to make that audio enjoyable. This is streaming. You are your own entrepreneur. You have your own product. This is exactly what you're trying to build towards. And by doing so, unfortunately, you need to focus on how to actually keep people there. It's one thing to have great audio and having me be able to hear you in a clear format, but there's another thing when you have that audio to be able to relay the entertainment aspect of what it is you're trying to do to keep people there. So you always have to remember, audio is great. Audio plus what you say is also fantastic, because that's exactly what will keep people there. Because sometimes if you don't have that, if you have great audio, you spend hundreds if not thousands of dollars on audio equipment, and you're going to kill it, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and then all of a sudden you just notice you're not necessarily the best on the microphone, or you're not as comfortable on the microphone, or people just don't find you as enjoyable. You're spending a lot of money without actually learning or teaching yourself what works. I say go simplistic, don't go crazy. See what works for you. when you find that what works for you is actually starting to showcase more, fine tune that and then go from more of the higher quality. I started with a USB microphone, and then when I found out that, the way that I was working, my form of entertainment, my form of actual comedy was working for me, this is where I went to the more of the heavier duty microphones because I knew what worked for me. And when I did this, it was a massive leap in quality. And it's true that audio will always be the number one factor that I think anyone should always focus on. Good audio will get you people because you're easy to listen to. Also, if you have a nice soothing voice, that helps as well. Why am I sounding creepy right now? That's great. But if you want to also start a podcast, going full audio does help me tremendously. That is the focus of podcasting after all. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know, what do you think? What is your number one when it comes to streaming? I would like to very much know. And also, if you have stuck to the end, you guys know what I usually like to do. And what I usually like to do is give you a task you can do for the week. Now, it's not a burden. It's nothing crazy. I'm not asking you to go above and beyond and jump over a car, which would be a very interesting task to do one day. It's a simple request. And the reason why it's a request is I want you to create a certain routine. I want you to see what helps you in the long run. Some of the last ones I've been giving you is, the 10 push-ups, the making your bed. We also had the one where I was telling you to replace one soft drink with an actual glass of water a week. This one is going to be a little bit more challenging. And the reason why is because it's going to force you to do something you may not want to do. Now, I'm not saying do this when you would technically be away from your PC or technically you would not be on your phone. Regardless, I want you to take the initiative of when you would be on your phone, the time of day when you would knowingly be on your phone and go through social media. I want you one day of this week, just one, take the initiative to not check your phone for an hour. Take the initiative to say, you know what? At this time, I would usually be scrolling through social media. I'm not going to do that today. Take one day out of the week. I ask for one day and for 1 hour to not scroll through social media when you would be scrolling through social media. I ask you to do it because I learned a lot when I was away for a month because I had to be, because I was burned out and I disconnected from everything. I know you hear it a lot and there's reasons why you hear it. When you get disconnected, it is something else and it feels so great. And it's one thing I ask you to try. I'm not asking for a lot. 1 hour. And if that 1 hour and that one day worked very well for you, try it again the next day. If that's too much, go back to it the following night. But if you try again the next day following that and see how it works for you. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys are not following our podcast, make sure to check us out. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio. You'll find all of our links in the description below, regardless if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening to us on any podcast format. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening. And I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to give me a chance to be in your ear, because that's where I like to be. From me to you, make sure to go live, ladies and gentlemen, and be proud. This is why audio is such a massive gameplay. This is why audio is such a massive game player when it comes to... Holy hell, get the line!